After a certain age, life starts asking different questions. It's no longer about what you want to be when you grow up. It's about who you can still become, now that you've grown.
You look back and see so many versions of yourself. The young dreamer, the professional who worked hard, the parent, the partner, the one who carried responsibilities for decades, and who now looks in the mirror and quietly wonders, who am I now?
Many people think that after 60, all that's left is to accept routine, take care of your health, and wait. But what if this is actually the best time to discover a new purpose? One that doesn't come from what you do for others, but from what you still have to uncover within yourself.
In this video, we're going to talk about something no one ever taught us. That there is a part of you, hidden, silenced, forgotten, that may hold the answers you've been seeking your whole life. Carl Jung called it the shadow, but it's not here to frighten you. It's here to guide you.
And the most amazing part? That path is still open, even now. Especially now. So stay with me until the end, because you might discover something about yourself that's been hidden for decades. And once you uncover it, it could transform how you see your entire life purpose. Have you ever felt that, despite everything you've lived through, there are still parts of you that remain unexplored? Maybe it's a resentment you never fully processed, a hidden talent you quietly buried, an anger you learned to disguise, or an old fear that still holds you back when no one is watching. Carl Jung called this hidden part of the self the shadow. But don't confuse it with something dark or evil. The shadow is simply everything you were taught to hide, everything you suppressed to be accepted, loved, or seen as a good person.
Why does this matter so much, especially after 60?
Because now, more than ever, you have the freedom to live fully, no longer needing to prove anything, no longer shaped by other people's expectations, no longer bound by the roles you played for years. The shadow is not your enemy. It's an invitation, a doorway into parts of you that were left behind, but never truly disappeared. The more you ignore your shadow, the more it shows up in subtle ways, in sudden irritation, in judgment toward others, in a quiet sense of emptiness that's hard to name. But when you gently turn toward it, something shifts. You start to feel whole again, not perfect, just honest. And after 60, honesty with yourself might be the most powerful kind of freedom there is. Recognizing your shadow doesn't require a psychology degree. It simply takes honesty and courage. Courage to admit that even after all these years, there are still reactions you don't fully understand. Words that come out too sharp. Silences that hurt more than they protect. Feelings that bubble up, uninvited. The shadow reveals itself in everyday moments. When you get deeply irritated with someone, and secretly realize you see part of yourself in them. When you judge someone for being selfish, but deep down, you wish you had thought more about your own needs. When jealousy shows up, even if you cover it with just an opinion, the shadow also lives in regrets. In what you didn't do because you were afraid, or in what you did just to please others. Jung believed that whatever we reject within ourselves ends up running our lives from the background. That's why paying attention to your thoughts, triggers, and judgments can become a roadmap. Ask yourself, why did that upset me so much? What part of me am I trying to hide? What did I give up in order to be accepted? When you ask these questions with kindness, they don't hurt, they heal. Journaling, meditation, even talking with someone you trust. Any moment of conscious reflection is a step forward. Because the more deeply you see yourself, the more free you become. And that freedom, after 60, is worth more than almost anything. Many people believe that facing their shadow means diving into darkness, that they'll uncover something shameful or become someone they don't want to be. But the truth is this: the shadow doesn't want to break you. It wants to show you the parts of yourself that were simply waiting to be seen. Because living while denying who you really are feels like carrying a silent weight, a heaviness that wears you down slowly, pulling you away from joy and from peace. Imagine spending a lifetime wearing shoes that never truly fit, just because everyone expected you to. Now imagine finding a pair that finally feels like home. That's what it means to live with your shadow, not against it. This freedom comes from self-awareness. When you recognize your anger, your sadness, your envy, your longing, you gain something powerful, choice. You can choose not to react automatically. You can channel that energy into something meaningful. You can feel your emotions without letting them define you. This is especially powerful later in life, because now you can choose what matters, what stays, and what finally gets to be released. Here's the beautiful part. As you integrate your shadow, you also become more compassionate with yourself and with others. Because now you understand that everyone is carrying something. So the next time something inside you stirs, don't shut it down. Pause and ask, what is this part of me trying to teach me? It might be the most important lesson of your life. Integrating your shadow isn't something you do in one day. It's a process, slow, personal, and deeply healing. But where do you start? You don't need a big ritual. You can begin with something small, a notebook, a quiet corner, a few minutes of honesty. Write about moments that triggered you. Reflect on situations that made you uncomfortable. Notice where you said yes when you really meant no. Ask yourself, what exactly bothered me? Is there something about this that reflects my own story? What part of myself have I abandoned in order to fit in? These questions, asked with kindness, won't wound you. They will reveal you. Another powerful step is remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. Before the roles, the provider, the caregiver, the strong one, took over. What lit you up back then? What still whispers from inside, asking to be seen? And remember, the shadow isn't integrated just through thinking. It needs to be lived through action. Feel anger? Turn it into movement. Walk, write, paint, speak. Feel envy? Use it as a clue. What do you long for that still matters to you? Feel sadness? Let it rest with you, but don't let it silence you. Purpose isn't a destination. It's a way of being. It's the sum of your small, conscious choices. And after 60, those choices hold even more meaning. Because now, you know what matters, and what no longer does. This might just be your most authentic chapter yet. There's a popular belief that you need to find your life's purpose while you're still young. As if turning 60 meant it's too late. As if the story is already over. But here's the truth. Most people only discover their real purpose later in life. And that's not a mistake. It's a gift. Why? Because only after everything you've lived through, the triumphs, the losses, the roles, the heartbreaks, do you finally start seeing things clearly. Only after years of trying to meet everyone's expectations can you finally ask, what do I want? Carl Jung believed life has two halves. The first is for building your identity. The second is for uncovering your essence. That's why so many people feel a strange emptiness, even after achieving success. They've built the outer life, but the inner one is still waiting. That quiet emptiness, it's not failure. It's your soul asking to be heard. And what it's asking for is not applause, not perfection, not approval. It's asking for truth, for alignment, for meaning. And that meaning might not look impressive on the outside. It might be simple, yet deeply powerful. To love better, to listen more, to live gently and honestly. Finding your purpose at 60, 70, or 80 isn't late. It's perfectly timed, because now you've lived enough to recognize what matters, and brave enough to live it. Change is never easy, at any age, but after decades of living a certain way, even thinking about change can feel overwhelming. Is it too late for me? What if I regret it? What if people don't understand? These questions are valid. But here's another question, just as important. What if you never try? Fear doesn't mean you're weak. In fact, fear often shows up right before growth. Carl Jung once said, "Where your fear is, there lies your task." Fear isn't a wall. It's a signpost. It points to exactly where your life could begin to shift. And the more you avoid it, the more power it gains. But when you face it gently, its grip softens, and a new path appears. You don't need to change everything at once. Start with one habit, one choice, one honest conversation. Maybe it's writing again, or reconnecting with someone you've been avoiding, or finally saying, I don't want to live this way anymore. And if fear shows up, breathe. Remember, you don't have to eliminate fear before taking action. You can walk with it. Courage isn't about having no fear. It's about moving forward even while afraid. And when you take that first step, something changes inside. You begin to trust yourself. You begin to respect your own truth. You begin to feel alive again. Because on the other side of fear is not failure, but a more honest, free, and empowered version of you. You can spend your whole life thinking about purpose, reading books, watching talks, searching for clarity. But as Carl Jung said, you are what you do, not what you say you'll do. In other words, purpose isn't something to be understood. It's something to be lived. And living with purpose doesn't require grand gestures. It means acting with intention, being honest with yourself, making choices that match your values, even in small ways. Tending to a garden, writing a letter, helping a neighbor, saying what you truly feel. Each small action is a vote for the person you want to become. And after 60, those choices carry even more weight. Because now, more than ever, you know what matters and what doesn't. Yes, thinking is valuable, reflecting, feeling, understanding. But your inner work only becomes real when it moves into the outer world. Otherwise, you remain reactive, only responding to what life brings, instead of shaping life from the inside out. Action doesn't mean rushing. It means showing up. It means being present with your truth today. If there's something you want to change, start with one simple action. Now. Change doesn't come when everything is perfect. It begins the moment you stop waiting. You've spent a lifetime being many things to many people. A parent, a partner, a provider, a friend, a caregiver. Now, maybe for the first time, you finally have the space to be you. Not the version shaped by expectations. Not the role you played to be loved or accepted, but the real person behind it all. And that person, with all your light and shadow, your dreams and your scars, still has so much life to live, so much to give, so much to feel. There's no deadline for becoming yourself. There's only the right moment. And if you're hearing this now, maybe that moment is today. Carl Jung once said that a meaningful life isn't made of constant joy, but of the ability to walk through darkness with awareness. Because strength is born from pain, gratitude is born from loss, and truth is often found in silence. You don't need a perfect plan to begin again. You don't need approval. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to begin, to say yes to the unknown, to believe that it's not too late, because it never was. Your purpose isn't waiting out there somewhere. It's been inside you all along, waiting to be lived. And the best news is, it's not too late. Not now, not ever.
Look in the mirror and say, now finally, I am me.